as I always promise, you've been great so far, right? This is what, your like fourth workshop?
Been doing good.
So far, so good. Just to summarize what we're doing here is, for the longest time in this office, we put patient care as the one and only thing in terms of the technical part of chiropractic care. And we can move bones, we can address muscles, we can stretch ligaments, heck, I can even adjust ankles and knees and elbows and sinuses and everything else. But what I can't change physically is the way people think. And the only way we can empower people to think a little bit differently in terms of their health is by providing education. And education in this office trumps everything else. When Lauren first started working here, one of the first things that I said to Lauren when she became part of our team is I said the how and the what in this office is easy. I can train on how to answer the phones, how to set up the whiteboards, how to set up the chairs, but I can't teach the why this is important. So workshops like this, the spinal workshops, get us to the foundational principles as to why. You know, why do you invest your time, your energy, and your money coming into this office? And I can promise you, it's not to hear your bones crack. Right, true or not true? I hope, and my hope and my prayer is that when we all leave here in a half an hour together, is that we leave more enlightened, we leave more educated, and maybe we become a beacon of light for someone that we know and we care about that doesn't know what we know about our health and about what we're learning here in these types of classes. I can tell you that since I've been involved in chiropractic, I have seen so many sad stories in terms of people's health. I see people that are on 12 to 13 different medications and they're barely 30 years old. I'm not going to name any names, maybe someone in this room has been there. And to me, that's not okay. And I find that with people that come into this office, that when people make that kind of health choice, it's not that they want to. I don't know anybody that wakes up on a daily basis and says, I can't wait to take 15 different medications today. A lot of times those people just don't know any different. They don't know that there are other ways of addressing healthcare concerns. Now, you're going to see in this sheet in front of you today that I made a reference to one of the most famous and inspiring things that has ever happened in the history of this country, in my opinion. And it was Dr. King's I Have a Dream speech that happened 50 years ago today. And he talked about what? He talked about inequalities and incongruencies in society, that regardless of the color of your skin, everybody deserves to have an equal opportunity. And in my view, in terms of health care, I have a dream that all people have a responsibility to take more of an onus and accountability on their end. I believe that people in our society are so quick to reach for something instead of reaching within them. We are so trained that when I have a pill or when I have an ill, I reach for what? A pill. And I know this because I live this. My mom's an RN. So when I grew up, if I sneezed, she was like right there with the Robitussin. And I remember growing up that I just thought that's what everybody did. You know, it wasn't until I met my wife in chiropractic college and I found that she had never been to a medical doctor her entire life, I kind of sat back and I said, well, what do you mean? You know, why not? And she said, well, it just not what my family did. We just got adjusted. And I remember thinking, well, that's kind of weird. Why do you need to crack your back? And this is someone that was in chiropractic college. And it wasn't until I learned more about the amazing healing potentials of the human body that I understood more. And throughout my learning experience, what happened? I got the why. And the why is why we do workshops like this. We do workshops for you. We also do them for me because it's important for me to make sure I stay up on education principles in my office, but these workshops are for you. The classes are for you to help you get better results. Our topic last week was what? Bear, do you remember? Get well faster.
Right.
And stay well longer.
Right.
Right? That's why we do things like this. So today's topic, we're going to talk about stress busters. But moving back to Dr. King's speech, You know, I have a dream that people take more of an accountability about their health. I believe that everyone deserves the chance to be healthy from the time they are born until the time of their last breath of life. Yeah, what does it say on our wall back here? Can you read it for me, Rachel?
Everyone deserves to be healthy from the time that they are born until their last breath of life.
Until their last breath of life. And we are so quick to drug, to ameliorate. The number one medicated segment of our population, who takes the most drugs, is who?
Elderly people.
Okay, good guess.
For young people?
It's children between the ages of 6 and 12 years old is the most medicated segment of our population today. Now, when I was first asked that question, that was my answer, the same thing you said. Because you can sell me on the elderly. Look, grandma's got the hip stuff, and grandpa's got arthritis. You know, we have grandparents who have gnarly fingers and toes and bunions and this. I get that. They've gone through 60 or 70 years of wear and tear, and they're old and crotchety, and they just need pills to make themselves feel better. So you might be able to make a case for me about the elderly, because they've abused their body over so many years, and they need some kind of relief. But you cannot sell me, and this is what keeps me awake at night, and why I need to get the chiropractic message out to people, is you cannot sell me that that's okay. Did you know that with, right, we've heard of this, right? The shooters were on heavy doses of psychotropic drugs. And one of the main side effects of that is suicidal and murderous tendencies and thoughts. They don't tell you that when you go to the doctor. You know, they hide it in the 15 pages of side effects in the magazine, right? I remember the funniest one that I read was may cause excessive gambling. And it's like all the doctors in Atlantic City are just probably pumping out drugs, and the casinos probably love it. But this is not okay with me. Children deserve the opportunity to grow up in a healthy, drug-free manner. You know, for years and years back here, we had another poster that was up. I'm not sure if you were part of the practice when the other poster was up, but it said that if we teach our children to take a drug for every ill, right, every time they don't feel good, what happens when they have an emotional problem, they don't feel good? What's the first thing they're going to do? They're going to reach out for a drug. And a lot of times the drug of choice is what? Maybe it's marijuana, maybe it's heroin, maybe it's cocaine. You know, you just heard about the guy from the TV show Glee. Remember what happened to him?
OD.
Right out of rehab. Right out of rehab, he OD. Here's a guy that's a famous celebrity. You know, you want to look at another celebrity who's in the news this week, who's got a problem, is who? That was made a jerk of herself on the movie awards.
Miley Cyrus.
Is Miley screaming for help? Or is Miley screaming for help? Come on now, what do they call it? Twerking? I'm not okay with that. But in any event, we're going to move on to the body of our talk now. But here we go. So in terms of your body's ability to be healthy, there are 3 things that are going to get in the way of that. Okay? Health is a process, not an event. So when your computer has a virus, what do? You have to remove the interference, the normal compatibility of the computer to work properly. So the body of our talk is going to start on what's called the 3 T's. Okay? And these are the stresses that are going to affect your body and decrease its ability to be healthy. The first T is this. Lauren, make a note about this again.
We used too much spray this time.
Now
That's all it is.
last week there wasn't enough.
Just dry it up.
I think there's too much.
Yeah.
So we're still learning here because today's our 3rd workshop. The first T is this. If you can read it.
That's why I like my chalkboard.
Yeah, right. I'm gonna have to get
It
one
is
of
a
those.
wipe. Don't use the
The,
spray.
the first T is trauma. So physical trauma. You know, if you're a person that engages in high intensity exercises and you pull a calf muscle, or maybe you strain a hamstring. If you're a runner, you know there's a tremendous pounding that occurs on the pavement. That's physical trauma. You know, you're a cheerleader and they drop you off the top of the pyramid. You're a skier and you stink like me and you're falling all over the place. Those are different forms of physical trauma. When physical trauma happens, the spine gets jarred out of alignment. Muscles pull differently, the nervous system gets irritated. That's an example of the first stress, which is physical trauma. Second is this. Second T. Toxins. And that's the chemistry. What we put in our body is what we're going to get out of our body. We say it this way, garbage in equals garbage out. Garbage in equals garbage out. So there are certain chemical markers, when you put it in your body, it decreases your body's ability to work properly. And you just finished what kind of class this summer in summer school?
Chemistry.
You know all about chemistry, right? We have potassium and sodium and carbohydrates and sugars. Did you know that sugar is what feeds into abnormal cancer cells? That's what they live on. And if you think I'm making it up, look at it online. Look it up on Google. I'm sure you've heard about this before. You're a smart girl, you read up on this stuff, right? So toxins. Here's a good example about something that can create toxicity in your body. Low H2O, low water intake. Your body is 80% water. The planet is 80% water. If you are dehydrated, it's going to affect everything. Water supports your muscles very similar to the way gas supports your car. And how many times have I said it to the most of the people in this room? Are you drinking your water? And most people do this. They're like a bobblehead. They don't want to hear me get on their case about it. Now, in terms of water, how much is enough? Or how much is too much? Any guesses?
There is not too much.
That
Actually,
could be.
I actually read that
Yeah.
there it can be. I didn't know this till recently, but Mercola.com says that you can create kidney disorder. I mean, it's a good guess, and I would have probably said the same thing a year ago, but I think you can actually OD on water, believe it or not. So, in terms of, I say to people, are you drinking enough? They say, yeah, I drink a bottle a day, one of those little Bottle Spring bottles. Here's a recommendation. It's half your body weight in ounces. So if I weigh 200 pounds, which I know no comments over here, I did have a couple cupcakes today. But if you weigh 200 pounds, you should be drinking 100 ounces of water every single day. That's a lot if you think about it. So if you weigh 100 pounds, 50 ounces a day. So you figure 8 8-ounce glasses get you to 64. 10 8-ounce glasses get you to what? 80. So you can do the math with me here. I can go through the math all night. But that's what supports your body to proper function. Now watch. If I drink coffee, coffee's what?
Water and coffee.
It's diuretic, right?
Sorry.
If I eat a lot of sugar, it leaches the water out of your bloodstream. It dehydrates you. If I exercise and I sweat a lot, I'm pulling weeds outside like my landscaper friend here. Bending, lifting, twisting, pushing mowers. Perspiring, your body loses water. You have to replenish it. Here's the last one. This is a biggie for most of us in this room, right? Your thoughts. How many of you have noticed that when you're stressed out, you tend to get sick more? How many of you notice that during the holidays, when people are eating junk and they're stressed with buying gifts and going to parties, that's when they say the flu season happens, right? And it's no wonder that when you're under a lot of emotional stress, that things happen a little more easy for you in terms of sickness. There's two divisions of your nervous system. All right, you've been through anatomy class, right? You want to help me?
Sympathetic, parasympathetic.
Sympathetic. Oh, it's music to my ears. Let's go to chiropractic school.
I thought about it. Why?
Lauren, we're gonna get better at
Use
this.
the mic.
One of these weeks we're gonna get better at this. You have two divisions of your nervous system. Parasympathetic nervous system and the sympathetic nervous system. Parasympathetic is what we call the rest and digest system. So when things are easy, you're calm, you're able to process your food, you're moving through the expiring process a little bit easier. I probably used the wrong word there. But parasympathetics allow your body to do its job. Air comes in, air goes out, heart beats, stomach processes food, all is good. The sympathetic nervous system is what's called the fight or flight. So when maybe you get into almost a car accident on 304, what happens to your heart rate? Goes up. What happens to your breathing? Changes. What happens to your pulse? Goes up. What happens to the perspiration in your skin? You get nervous, right? Maybe you get a little edgy. I know sometimes when I have a bad day on the golf course, I get mad. I'm starting to shake. Not like this guy, right? Too overpart. But in any event, you have these two separate areas of your nervous system. So when you're under a lot of emotional stress, you go here. Maybe you're stressing out about a test. Maybe you fight with your spouse. Maybe your financial house isn't in order. Maybe you don't know how to process things appropriately from a mental standpoint. You're going to put yourself into this sympathetic overdrive. You feel edgy. You don't know why. When things happen here, you know what happens to your blood vessels? They
Constriction.
constrict. Blood vessels supply what?
Water.
They supply your muscles.
Nutrients.
Blood flow can't get to the muscles. Your muscles get tight. Trigger points happen. And that's when you see yourself doing this. That's why I go to schools and I talk about stress management and spinal health and awareness. So these are the three stressors. They were there a second ago. Thoughts, traumas, and toxins. So how do we handle these things? What do we do to manage? How do we bust the stress? Right? Today's class is about stress busters. The physical part of it is easy. I can help you with that. We can move the spine back into alignment. We can stretch the muscles. We can teach you exercises and stretches to do at home to maximize your physical strength and to minimize the effect of the environment on your physical stability. Okay? As far as the biochemical part of things, the toxins, who's in charge of that? I mean, if you're going to ask me to come to your house and feed you with this work about what to put in your body, that ain't happening. You know, we had a new patient today. I said to her this, it's a 70-30 relationship. Guess who's the 70? You guys. So on your own, it's important to make sure you're engaging in activities and behaviors that support yourself from a biochemical means and standpoint. A good recommendation that we have in the office is something, I'm sure people have heard of the paleo diet. It's a great thing. Brittany, right? True or not true? It's a great way to modify, there you go, modify your diet. If you want recommendations with supplements, we have it available. Next to InnoBear, there's something called an ALCAT test that can check your blood sensitivity as far as chemistry is concerned. These are all things, I'm not trying to sell you on stuff, but these are different things we have available at the office. And the third thing in terms of your thoughts, now this is the real key here, right? How do you manage what's going on between your ears? I can give you two recommendations. The first recommendation is right above my roof here. What's upstairs?
Yoga.
A yoga studio. If you haven't done yoga, it's a great thing to do physically and emotionally. It's a really good thing to do. The other recommendations I can give you is if you have an iPhone or an iPod, you can download podcasts that are about meditation and easing things. If you have Pandora or Spotify on your cell phones, you can actually subscribe to different channels that have to do with easy listening type things. That helps you get back into this parasympathetic division of your nervous system and keep things on the healing capacity. All right?
Okay, 10 minutes.
Got 10 minutes left?
Yes.
Perfect timing. I love this. Our third class is doing well here,
Yeah.
right? What I want to do now is we're going to transition a bit. And typically now we're going to move into what's called the close of our class. I usually like to tell an empowering story so you can leave within a few minutes. I'm going to give you some time to fill out the information. We also give you guys magazines for you to read through and share with friends and family members, co-workers, that type of thing. Before I do that, though, I want to open the floor for someone here to share their personal story with chiropractic. So what I did before we got started, I asked Rachel. So Rachel, you have the floor, and I want you to tell everyone here about how we found each other and tell us how your results have been. Yeah, you can sit there whenever you feel comfortable.
Well, Dr. Craig came to Capri. I go to Capri Cosmetology Learning Center. His wife came there first because we did her hair. And she came and she just adjusted it. A couple of people, the first day she did it, I went home and went knocked right out like a little baby. That was really, really good. It was good. So then we kept asking Miss Vicky, who's also a patient here, when was she going to come back? So then Dr. Craig came and he brought his spine with him and he explained to us, and then he signed us up and gave us free health cards. So I started coming here. Before I started coming here, I was having headaches every single day for hours. I'll take a leave, 3 leave, nothing. Still won't happen. So ever since I've been coming here for the past month, I haven't had not one headache. No problems, no medicine, no pills, no nothing. and I've been sleeping good. I really go to sleep now, but I have to go to class.
So don't fall asleep in the middle of my workshop,
awesome.
please. You got it. I think I'm improving here.
But I'm very happy with the results, and I'm doing really good.
Thank you for sharing.
Round of applause for Rachel.
Yes.
And pretty soon we're going to take Rachel's story. We're going to put her up on our wall of fame. And you know, one of the things I love about these types of workshops, we're in a safe place. We can be open-minded, engaging. You know, our family's our practice is a family. So we want people to engage and say hello to each other and eat food and hang out with their kids here, provided they're not screaming like the family did before. But the great and amazing thing about this is that before we met, you didn't know any different. And it wasn't your fault. You weren't a bad person. You were just what?
Human.
You were human, and you were
Unaware.
uninformed. You were unaware. And it wasn't until Dr. Christie was able to help you with an adjustment at school. And it wasn't until Lauren and I came there and shared an ergonomic workshop with the students, and we gave you an opportunity to investigate chiropractic. And you know, thankfully, the two of you were at the school together. You were smart enough to investigate it. How many students did we see? Probably 30 that made appointments and never
Yeah.
showed up.
Really?
And we have a list, a stack of stress surveys of girls that had headaches and menstrual problems and sleeping problems, and they're on medication, and they just never took the step. And look, everyone has a choice. Everybody's in charge of their own health. When you take that first step forward, that's when miracles can happen. And that's why you had a miracle. I think it's a miracle. It really is. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
So, in a minute, I'm going to have you guys look into filling out your sheets of paper. And as is, every week we talk about this, Bear, it's going to sound like a broken record after a while. I'm going to have you say it every so often. But the goal of our office is to help people. That's the only reason why we exist. You know, we're not a Fortune 500 company looking to maximize profits and pay out to our shareholders. The only reason why this practice exists is because we want to help people. And people don't know what you guys know. So on the bottom of your sheet, if you have people that you have in mind that you want to help, if you want to list their names, that's okay. If you don't want it, that's okay too. But what we do is we can do one of three things. Is we can put them on our prayer list. We can just put them out there in the universe and say a prayer from them. We can send them an introductory letter. I can organize a phone call with them. Or even better yet, invite them to a Spinal workshop. These are free. I don't ask you guys to pay for these. I don't put your feet to the floor. I don't tell you can't leave. So these are opportunities for people to get informed and to stay educated. Where are we on time?
We've got like 5 minutes.
Beautiful. Perfect time. I'm doing much better. The story I'm going to share today is in 2007, my wife and I were in chiropractic college. No, look at that. Jeez. 2004. I'm almost out of chiropractic college 10 years. Believe that. In 2004, my wife and I had the opportunity to join a chiropractic mission trip. And you had to submit a whole essay and do an exam about where you wanted to go and why you wanted to go there. And my wife and I got selected to go to Hyderabad, India. Has anyone ever been to India here before? You just got back from Europe? Bear, you're
No, never been.
never been anywhere?
No.
So,
Well, I've been somewhere.
You've been-
I've never been in India.
Oh, you've never been in India? So in 2004, my wife and I got an opportunity to go to India for a mission trip. We were there for 3.5 weeks in the middle of July. It was 127 degrees when we landed at the airport. And you want to talk about culture shock. When we walked off the plane, there was like stray dogs running around and like kids sleeping under bridges. It's a different place. It's a real different place. So we get to the clinic. We must have traveled for about 26 hours just to get to our hotel. We get to the clinic, and people are lined up for 4 hours to see the doctors from America. So most people are coming in and they're walking in holding their back, or they're holding their neck, or they're doing this. They're saying they have headaches, and they kept us in different quarters. The women would come in their burqas and they would see the women, and the men would go see the men. So I was in one of the rooms, and they brought in this baby, and the baby was about 5 years old, and the mom had come in her burqa, and I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm relatively wet behind the ears. I'm still a student. So the woman says through the translator, she says, my baby has never walked. Can you help my baby walk? So I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, well, this is a tall order, right? I mean, I feel like I'm Jesus Nazareth here washing feet and hopefully see what happens. So the woman brings the baby to me. and she says, I need you to help my baby walk. My baby has cerebral palsy. And the baby had these big Coke bottle glasses, and the baby's name was Baby Hygieta. And I adjusted the baby's neck using a gentle technique, the bone called the atlas, which is at the very tippy top of the spine that controls what we call the gatekeeper between the brain and the body. And then we did some muscle work to help re-educate the brain patterns about where the muscles were in the legs and the arms and the hands. And I adjusted this baby for 5 straight days. The woman brought her back, waited online, and brought the baby into the clinic. And after the first couple of days, you start getting that doubt in the back of your head. I don't know if this is working. Is chiropractic right for this child? Maybe we should refer out to a different person. And the 5th day, before we were leaving to go to a different clinic area, I adjusted the baby. I stood the baby up on one end of my table, and she took her first 3 steps towards her mother at the end of the table. And that moment for me was what we call the tipping point, where I just knew that if I could just get my hands on people and release the pressure from their nervous system, that miracles are possible. But they would have never come to me unless they weren't told by a friend, hey look, go get checked out by the people from America. See if a miracle will happen. And look, we couldn't converse, we couldn't talk, I had no idea what she was saying, but she knew, we looked eye to eye, that there was something there. And we changed this, and listen, I tried to stay in touch with them over the years, and I don't know, did we cure this baby and the baby walk for the rest? I don't really know, but I knew in that moment that it was amazing. It was an amazing experience for me. So I want to thank everyone for being here tonight. I want to thank your attention throughout the time we have spent together. I always like to be prompt. 30 minutes means 30 minutes. Inubear, you got 3 under your belt so far, pal. I'm proud of you.
It's pretty good.
So I'm going to give you a couple of minutes. I want you to engage the sheets in front of you. If you know people that need help, I want you to let us know about them because we want to help them. If anybody has any questions, I'm going to be here. Lauren will be here. Help yourself to a snack. Grab a gluten-free brownie. I want to thank everybody for being here. Namaste. Thanks for coming, Ross. You right?
All right.